The impeachment trial and the end of the nuke bailout fight. Joining us on Columbus on the Record this week, Jesse Balmert, State House reporter for the Cincinnati Enquirer, Darrell Rowland, Public Affairs Editor for the Columbus Dispatch, Gene Krebs, former state legislator, and Marianne Sharkey, Public Affairs Consultant. Well, we are about halfway through the first portion of the impeachment trial of President Trump. Democrats have had their 3 days to argue for Trump's removal. Republicans get their chance to defend the president starting Saturday. While both sides have polished their arguments, the arguments remain the same.
President Trump has placed his own personal political interests first. He has placed them above our national security, above our free and fair elections, and above our system of checks and balances. This conduct is not America first. It is Donald Trump first.
This is the weakest case for impeachment in the history of this country. We continue to see how flimsy this case is, which is why there was bipartisan opposition in the House. There was bipartisan no votes when it comes to impeachment.
Senators largely have stayed out of the spotlight during this trial. Rob Portman is said to have played a role in last-minute changes in the trial rules. Sherrod Brown calls for witnesses, and he accuses the Senate Majority Leader of conducting a cover-up.
Trump says this is about hearsay. This case is witch hunt about hearsay. Well, if it's about hearsay, let's hear from the people who are the eyewitnesses. That will make all the difference in the world. We're going to continue to fight because Mitch McConnell wants this over. He wants the president to be exonerated. He doesn't want the American people to see what really happened.
Gene Krebs, you live out in Western Ohio, Preble County.
Yes.
Curious how this is playing in that rural area part of the state.
About 75% of the population still firmly supports the president. I think you need to divide Trump supporters into two camps, what I call the secular Trumps and the religious Trumps. The secular Trumps think it's about values and a little bit of the economy. The religious Trumps are evangelical, and they view it on the basis of Supreme Court nominations. They view that there's been a war on Christianity.
Are they even watching this impeachment proceeding? The Trump supporters?
The Trump supporters are watching it, but they're all, like most things, it's like, you remember several months ago on the internet, you saw this saying, is this a blue dress or is this a green dress? Everybody's seeing it and interpreting it their own way.
Interesting. Quick look at the ratings in Central Ohio. 1 in 5 TVs during the day are watching it. At least, so people are watching it during the day. Now, daytime audiences aren't what primetime audiences are. But Marianne, what's it like up in, you split your time between here and Cleveland. What's it like in Northeast Ohio?
Well, I mean, they are watching it, but of course, from the opposite point of view, they've made up their mind that, you know, it's obviously Cleveland is one of the heaviest Democratic areas of the state. So yeah, everybody is seemingly looking at this through the political prism. You know, the ratings apparently the first couple of days were something like 11 million. But when you look at the Judge Kavanaugh, there was about like 20 million people who watched that hearing.
Part of it is, Darrell, we've seen this all before. You saw these arguments, and these have not changed. It's slicker. They got videos and PowerPoints the Democrats have. I'm sure Republicans will have the same, and so it's more organized, but it's the same arguments.
Well, yeah, and it would be interesting to know exactly who's watching it, who's spending time. Are we just people who are rooting on their own side? Is this echo chamber, or are people really inquisitive? It's like, well, I kind of read about this, heard about this, but now I'd kind of like to hear it from their lips.
Yeah. Jesse, the two Ohio senators, not too vocal. I mean, they're not really members of the defense team or anything like that. They're just sort of, because they can't talk during the proceedings. They can only write down their questions, so they're not going to be high profile anyway. But they're not out in front of the cameras in the hallway like some other folks are.
Yeah, I think it'll be interesting what they have to say when this is all wrapped up. I think one of the challenges of this in general is for the average viewer is there's a thought process that we already know how this is going to end because the Republicans control the Senate, and it's likely that they're not going to ultimately, you know, decide to continue with the impeachment. So we'll see what happens. But I also think it'll be interesting. Portman was kind of the co-chair of the Senate Ukraine caucus, so he was at least involved pushing for this money to come out a little bit. So it'll be interesting if we learn more there.
Dale, you wrote a story this week about how he's inconsistent. He really wanted to know why this money was being held up. Rob Portman did, as the chair of that Ukraine caucus. And then when it came time to ask for records, he voted no, we don't need the records.
Right. Now, he has an explanation for that. And again, just to clear it up, as Jesse said, Senator Portman, I think this may be a moment of truth for Senator Portman. I mean, I fully agree. It's very, very likely the Senate's just going to vote to acquit, then we're done with it, then we'll see how it all plays on the campaign trail. I think Senator Portman will probably be with that. But there is a possibility, tiny though it is. He has pushed for this, according back to the Obama years, aid to Ukraine, lethal aid, so Ukraine can defend itself against the Russian bear next door. He's traveled to Ukraine. He's won awards for supporting Ukraine. He's founder and co-chairman of the Ukraine caucus. He wanted that information. He talked to the defense secretary personally. He talked to Vice President Pence personally. They wrote to the OMB officials, say, what's up? Why is this money being held up? He never really got an answer. And you're right, when it came time to subpoena that very same OMB official, he said, no, let's not do that. Now, what he has said, and this is why I say it's kind of a moment of truth, he has said after these opening arguments are done, so to speak, which means this coming week, he will decide then whether to grant subpoenas or not. So does he really want to know, or the aid is there and, I'm going to stick with my president?
Ukrainian voting bloc is much stronger in Northeast Ohio. Does this hurt Rob Portman up there?
Yes, it is. It's very, very strong in Northeast Ohio, and I think it will hurt him very much. He has always sort of courted the ethnic vote in the Cleveland area, just like George Voinovich did. And I cannot imagine it will not hurt him deeply with the Ukrainian community, who is following this probably as closely as anyone in the United States.
Gene, he's got 2 years, though, Rob Portman, before he's on the ballot. Sherrod Brown, it's 4 years. It's almost a lifetime for Sherrod Brown before he's back on the ballot, in politics anyway. But 2 years is not that far, but it's still a bit of a cushion. Yeah. Does he run any risk of losing his seat because of his stances during this trial and during this process?
I think that what his concern is, first and foremost, is going to be his primary election. If you go back to and look at Pat Tiberi, former congressman from Central Ohio, had $6.6 million in his campaign account. He could easily take on any challenger. There were rumors Pat was going to be facing a primary opponent, and Pat said, look, Congress is no fun anymore. I'm just going to go home.
And he got a good job.
But he decided to do that. So I think that as far as the general goes, let me put it this way. I'm going to go back to what I was talking about earlier with my friends and neighbors and relatives, same thing, where I'm from. And in talking to them about Trump, it's the husband who is most forcefully spoken on Trump. The wife stays silent or averts her eyes. So there may be a split inside. So I just want to revise that a little bit. So you may be seeing a gender gap here
You see that in the suburbs, too. You've seen that at least in 2018. Anyway.
Yeah, so.
All right, speaking of the campaign, while all this is going on, we are in the final days before voting begins in the presidential campaign. The Iowa caucuses are a week from Monday. A new poll out from Baldwin Wallace gives us kind of a snapshot of where Ohio voters stand. An unidentified Democrat would beat Donald Trump by 5 points. Ohio voters seem to like Joe Biden, and the economy is the #1 issue. We'll get to the poll in a minute, Mary Ann, but talk about this Democratic race, the way it's shaping up. The latest national polls have Joe Biden and Bernie Sanders kind of separating themselves from the pack. Is this a two-man race?
Well, I don't think so. I don't count Elizabeth Warren out yet either. Bernie has, he may have been helped a little bit by Hillary Clinton saying nobody likes him. Who knows? That might have given him a bump in the polls.
Yes.
I think that I still haven't counted Elizabeth Warren out, but I do think the top three are the top three, and they're going to stay the top three.
And the New York Times, in endorsing Amy Klobuchar, mentioned that she's at the same point where John Kerry was in 2004. So it's still early before votes are even cast, caucus votes or primary votes.
Yeah, it's interesting though. Ohioans are going to start voting here in mid-February is when early voting is going to start. So we are closer than you might think. The thing that's going to be interesting to watch is Ohio's 1 week after Super Tuesday. And so how much will the field be winnowed before we get to the Buckeye State? And it's quite possible not very much.
The thing to watch is also going to be the relatively open primary states like Ohio, where you simply show up and say, hey, this time I want to be this party. Trump being on the ballot makes the Republican primary boring. I've talked to many Republicans back home who go, well, I don't know if I ever vote for a Democrat, but I could vote for this Bloomberg guy. And I'm just kind of going, what? And this is from them, unsolicited from me. So his ads are having an effect.
Do they know he doesn't like the big gulp and all the?
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. They just like the cut of his jib.
Yeah, he's businessman. Getting to this poll, the Baldwin-Wallace poll, it comes under a lot of criticism, Dalbeck, for its methodology. Can we take anything from this? It's a barometer. It's a little mile marker in this campaign.
I'm a confessed poll snob.
Yeah.
So as far as statistically, no. I mean, as far as the numbers that are out there, I mean, if I had to hazard a guess, I'd say, that smells about right, just from the little bit of the state I get out and about, and the campaign events I've been to. But who knows? It's just a methodology that at least personally and our common owner now, the Gannett Group, have decided we're not going to do it. Cleveland.com gives a great credibility, so there are some who obviously have a different viewpoint.
Jesse, whether you believe the numbers or not, it shows that the presidential race, the unidentified Democrat, whoever they might be, I don't know, is neck and neck with the Trump, and it's within the margin of error.
Yeah, the interesting thing about Ohio was it was within the margin of error, so it's hard to say whether Trump or the unidentified Democrat would do better. Some of the other states in that poll, it was leaning more towards the Democrats. In other kind of Midwest swing states.
They looked at Michigan and Wisconsin.
Wisconsin. And so I guess that jives with past experience where Ohio was more friendly to Trump than, surrounding swing states.
But the key poll to watch is the one that they do exactly 12 months before that next general election. And however far the president who occupies the White House is in below 50% gives you an indication how much trouble his party is going to be in.
So if memory serves me right, Trump has been around 43% approval rating.
Yeah.
Right.
Since he was elected.
Yeah.
So that means he's in trouble, because we figured last November he was around that point.
That means the Republicans are going to have to go ahead and really up their ground game. They're going to have to start matching. This is, once again, the Bloomberg commercials are changing the structure. And I've got Republicans who are now talking about taking a Democrat ballot to vote for him.
In this Baldwin-Wallace poll, Bloomberg was at 10%.
Right.
So he's registering, however the methodology is, people are at least saying his name.
Well, I mean, I agree with Daryl in that the methodology has been questioned by, the real pros in polling. But my gut is telling me that's just about right. And I think Ohio is in play when a lot of the pundits were saying, a year or 2 years ago, Ohio is no longer a bellwether state. And I've always disagreed with that because I still think it's in play.
And the numbers to look at that is you total up all the legislative votes in the last cycle. It was like 51-49 Republican to D. So we're still within that classic 2-margin point.
So, Daryl, how do we, as consumers, now there's not as much polling in Ohio this year because of, I think folks have written us off as solidly red or likely red. How do we go about picking a poll to trust?
Yeah, well, you're exactly right. The number of polling outfits, because polling is expensive.
Yep.
And the methodology has just gotten harder and harder. As we used to have the mail poll. People stopped at looking at snail mail. Phone polls have been traditional for decades. Who answers their home phone anymore? So cell phones. Well,
who answers a cell phone anymore?
Well, that or I call 614 area code, and my kids both have them, and they're on the opposite coast. Yeah. So you're not telling the Ohio vote very well there. Online, maybe someday. So that methodology is suspect. Personally, I do Monmouth, I do Quinnipiac, and I sort of look at the rest.
Yeah.
There's a variety of ones. Now, if you just want to let Iowa alone, the Des Moines Register poll, my goodness gracious, I'm so jealous. It's a newspaper poll that's such great credibility throughout the years.
One good gauge is Nate Silver. He does an aggregation.
Yeah, he rates them.
He rates the polls. Yeah.
And does weighting averages based on historical stuff, and which is usually pretty good.
All right. There could be a couple of constitutional amendments on the November ballot. One would give many Ohioans a raise. The other would make it easier to register to vote. One question would increase Ohio's minimum wage to $13 an hour over the next few years. Many labor unions support this effort. The other effort is backed by the ACLU. It would allow people to register and vote on the same day during the early voting period. and it would create a system that automatically registers voters when they do state business, like when they get a driver's license. Jesse Balmert, first, these kind of came out of nowhere. It's kind of late in the game, isn't it, for a constitutional amendment with the number of signatures they need to get on the ballot, 9, 10 months from now?
It is a challenge. We've already seen a couple constitutional amendments, such as, the concealed carry measure already decided that they're not going to make a run at it this year. So you really have until the middle of this year, and you have to get more signatures, valid signatures this time around, because there was such good turnout for the governor's race. So that'll be a challenge. These are topics that people have been discussing in the state, at least a little bit. There's legislation on minimum wage. There's legislation on making it a little bit easier to register to vote at the BMV, something that would fill it out for you, and then you could opt in. But those pieces of legislation aren't moving swiftly through the legislature, so it might be a little bit of a reaction to that.
A way to possibly, on the voting anyway, to force action in the legislature. We've seen that before.
We really don't need a state law on the minimum wage issue, because for 15 months I did an experiment where I tipped at 40%. It had several interesting aspects, but if everybody was to start tipping all servers, and this includes when you go to a hotel and you stay overnight, give them a $10 to $20 tip when you stay. All of a sudden, but you need to do this. If everybody did this, by the way, that's about the same amount of money this is going to cost everybody. So we could all right now decide to treat everybody fairly and do this. We wouldn't need this legislation.
Where do you go? Where do you eat? Because the servers want to know where you eat. They want to.
Actually, what's most curious is that doing this for 15 months, I never once had a server come back to me after they took the check and say, thank you.
Wow.
Never.
That's too bad.
Yeah.
Anyway, either
One of the
minimum
reasons for
wage,
credit.
labor unions are behind this, $13 an hour. There was-
Especially SEIU.
Yeah.
The janitors union has really been pushing this hard. They tried to push it in through Cleveland City Council eventually nixed it because they felt it would put everybody at an unfair advantage in the Cleveland area. So they said, at the time, statewide is the only fair way to do this. But then you'll get into the, like Toledo and Cincinnati, and they'll be upset because, you can go across the river and move your businesses across the river.
Daryl,
Yeah.
they say they picked 13 because 15 was too high for most Ohioans, according to their polling. That's what the
That was
organizers-
intriguing because you always, so many of the advocates are pushing for $15. Yeah, 13 by, 2025, as I recall. And of course, Ohio already has a step, it does increase now at the rate of inflation. Now it's what, $8?
$8.70 now, I think.
Something
yeah,
like
yeah.
that in the $8. But Jesse's, the signature gathering, all this is going to be predicated by how much money they have. As the folks who wanted to do the background checks for handgun purchases find out, it is really hard to do a volunteer effort and get over 400,000 valid signatures by very early July in just a few months. But if you have paid circulators, if you have the wherewithal to do that, maybe a different ballgame. So we're going to find out.
And you do have the primary, where everyone, presumably, who goes to the polling places is registered, and you can get good signatures coming out of there. So
Yeah.
the validation rate
Right.
must be higher.
Stay outside the flags now.
That's right. Now, it was reported that right now the average minimum wage, market-based minimum wage, is like $11.50 an hour. So the market is pushing up. In a good economy, the market is, to Gene's point, market is pushing up the minimum wage. Is it less urgent now for voters to raise it, do you think?
Well, I think the groups that are pushing this would say that, you've got to get it up to a living wage or a wage that is more sustainable for the cost of living in some places. You see some cities and some different organizations promising to say, we're going to move it up to $15, which businesses have a right to do, and sometimes that's good marketing for them.
I think generally people are understanding that they've never seen a more bifurcated economy, where if you have enough money to have 401ks and be in the stock market, life is sweet. And if you don't, life's very, very tenuous. And I think people are understanding that.
Same-day voting registration throughout the entire early voting period, which means you can register and vote on the same day, really up to a couple of days before Election Day. Really, the day before Election Day.
Democratic areas would love it,
Yeah.
absolutely love it, but I do not see Republicans going for that.
But
Here's a data point. Wisconsin did this a few years back. It increased Republican votes.
Well,
So here's data destroying an ideological bent by people who don't know or study anything. So, yeah.
changes campaigns, though, Daryl, doesn't it?
Well, sure. The whole early voting philosophy already changes. You used to talk about election day. Now it's election month. And yeah, as Jesse says, we're about, 2-3 weeks away from people are going to be casting ballots, if they wish, in Ohio, early in person or through the mail absentee. But my goodness, instant registration, all that's been proposed numerous times, and it's always been shot down.
Technology
Ohio.
is there, Jesse.
Remember Golden Week? This would be like Golden Month.
Month, right.
Yeah, it is interesting. Michigan recently passed something very similar to what's being proposed in Ohio, and it had, pretty decent support. I think it was like 66%. So it is something that people are interested in, the idea of being able to opt in or maybe even opt out of registering as opposed to the current system where you have to opt in. Secretary of State Frank LaRose has talked about ways to make it easier to register to vote. So it is something that both Republicans and Democrats are talking about, but the legislation isn't really moving. On this particular measure, though, LaRose is saying, don't put it in the Constitution. And I think that's where some of your state lawmakers are going to come down, is going to say, yeah, maybe this is a good idea, but let us push it through the General Assembly.
They'll be watching those petitions come in to see how close they are to meeting the threshold in July, and then you might see some action on it. Our last topic, as these referendum efforts emerge, another one dies. Opponents of the nuclear bailout law have officially ended their effort to get on the ballot in November. The group Ohioans Against Corporate Bailouts tried to stop the bailout of the 2 nuclear plants in northern Ohio and the 2 coal plants. The group failed to collect enough signatures. They went to court to ask for more time. A federal court said no. Then it went to the state Supreme Court. Now that group is dropping its appeal. Darrell, a bit of a surprise. The odds were long that they were going to get on the ballot. But I think a lot of folks thought that the Supreme Court case would clarify when you could start, when the deadline was for collecting signatures.
Well, there's an interesting question here. And, just for clarification's sake, it would be great if the justices would weigh in. When does the clock start? 60 days basically now from when the law is enrolled, I think.
Yeah.
Basically
when it
takes
becomes
effect.
law, yeah.
Yeah, but there's that lag time in there if you need to do these preliminary signature gathering things, get your petition language okayed. Now, the group partially has itself to blame because they blew it the first time around, so that took extra time there. But all that's eating into the 60 days. So instead of 60 days to gather, again, a pretty good amount of signatures, you have maybe 45 days. But again, it underscores the role of money in this. And here's the sad lesson. The group claims they don't have enough money. We saw $16 million in TV ads from one side, much smaller amount, but several million from the other side. And we will not know where one penny came from.
Because the campaign is ending. Yeah.
Well,
there won't be a campaign.
For the one side, and for the 16 million side, which was the side that First Energy Solutions was on, never. It was all. That's why we call it dark money, because you never know where it comes from.
Well, I think we have a good guess, though.
So
you want to go out on that limb? You're sure.
Right.
There are many lessons to be learned here. One is that big energy wins again in Ohio, but this was the first time in Ohio, certainly, perhaps one of the few times in the states where the campaign to defeat the issue wasn't held after it was on the ballot. It was before it even got on the ballot. And that's kind of a uncomfortable precedent, no?
But yes, it is. But remember, God has a sense of humor, and we're often the butt of his jokes. And the Federal Energy Regulation Commission, commonly known as FERC, has now weighed in on the impact of House Bill 6. And it has thoroughly muddied the waters on the subsidies aspect of this. And you've got a whole lot of legislators right now in the State House going, what did we just do?
Mean that federal subsidies could be cut from these?
What it means is the fact that this may have created an unfair transcontinental, transnational advantage, and they're going to be charged a surcharge. And so we may end up with up to $1 billion of additional fees being put upon Ohio citizens. Yeah. So, but the language just came out. We're still parsing through it and kind of going, what does all this mean? By the way, the FERC these are all Trump appointees now. Yeah. And so if you criticize FERC, you're criticizing Donald, which is death to a Republican.
Marianne, real quickly, do we see other preemptive campaigns down the road?
Oh, yeah, I think we will. I think absolutely. I think this one proved it can work.
All right. Let's get to our final off-the-record parting shots. Marianne, you go first.
Okay, I have to give a shout-out to the University of Dayton Flyers men's basketball, who are finally made it into the top 10. They haven't been there since 1967, so go Flyers.
They had a great headline when they beat Ohio State, the University of Dayton.
That's right.
Remember that? Gene?
I expect ranked choice to become an increasing topic in Ohio. In full disclosure, I may have a small, minor role in helping on that.
Okay. Daryl.
I'm going to tell a couple of my colleagues' stories. Doug Caruso, Rick Ruan, looked at the voter purges in Ohio. Looked at the one the Secretary of State looked at, found a bunch of people who were kicked off that should not have been kicked off. Said, Chief, what about that one back in January that the Secretary of State did not go back and look at? Found it was kind of a handful more, but was enough to his credit. Secretary of State Frank LaRose says, we need a top-down change in this system.
Okay. And Jesse.
I think you're going to want to watch these private school scholarships called vouchers that are coming up this week. There's a large number of school districts that are upset that they're being called underperforming, and lawmakers are hearing that loud and clear.
And pro-voucher folks are fighting back, correct?
They are.
All right. This week, of course, PBS lost one of its pioneers. Jim Lehrer passed away, longtime host of the PBS NewsHour. So we'll miss him. We have missed him on that program. But we moderators always tried to model ourselves after Jim Lehrer. He moderated, more than a dozen presidential debates and many other debates, and always played it right down the middle. And he was the guy we all looked at to show us the way. So we will miss Jim Lehrer. That is Columbus on the Record for this week. Check us out online. We're on Facebook. We're on Twitter. You can connect to those at our website. And also at our website, you can see each episode on demand, so you can relive this experience or catch us if you're watching impeachment coverage on a Friday night or Sunday afternoon. They won't have it on Sunday, will they? Just Friday night. Anyway, WOSU.org is our website. For our crew and for our panel, I'm Mike Thompson. Have a good week.